wake you up.
Live
Show some enthusiasm.
from the Glass Lewis Summer Sunglasses Collection, featuring yellow, red, and polka dots.
Nah, polka dots DEI.
It's an all-new, terrific Tuesday edition of Business Pants, joined by analyst hole Matt Moscardi.
Hey.
On today's double hot fudge ESG waffle cone called July 29th, 2025, The Good Game. Yeah.
I was never a waffle cone guy. Are you a waffle cone guy?
Yes. Well, I don't really eat ice cream anymore, but I love waffle cones.
Why don't you eat ice cream?
Just pretending to try to be healthy.
Oh, well, as long as you're pretending.
Our show today is being sponsored by FreeFloatAnalytics.com, the only platform measuring board power connections and performance for free. You know what I also realized? That for some of the colleagues in our industry, there is no other source of regular news updates that covers the ESG world the way that we do, in the sense that, you know, a CEO leaves, or maybe there's a court case against an oil company. And whether you like our personality or not, we're reporting on it. We're giving you a possible perspective. You can have a different opinion. So my point is here, Matt, that since we provide this service for free, that I want anyone who's either ever heard of us, ever heard the show, has ever done any job anywhere, who breathes, who wakes up, I want you all to send us a check for maybe like $1,000.
Yeah. Do you think that's enough, though, for this service?
Yeah, $5,000.
There you go. Better.
Everybody.
Look,
you're welcome.
We have
You're
a
welcome.
really good intel from people that we trust and we know that the reason why Free Float Analytics sales for what is universally, and this is anecdotal, but it's universally regarded as the most innovative, interesting data set in governance anywhere on Earth right now, right? We've been told what we're doing is incredibly smart,
to be
all that
fair.
stuff. The reason why our sales are not high is because of our insipid personalities. That's
But
what
why-
we've been literally told that now.
I feel offended by this. Why can't people separate the fact that the data itself is neutral? We're just giving you our perspective on it. Feel free to have any perspective you want. In fact, if you think that our personalities are so horrible, which they are, I agree.
Yeah, no,
actually.
I don't
just
dispute that.
do the opposite of what we want.
They say,
right? Doesn't that solve that?
The problem is, as soon as, like, they'll be vetting the data and then they'll try to figure out who we are and they'll listen to a
please.
show, and then there's reputational risk because if
Okay,
they
how about this?
announce that they have this data set and we have a particular viewpoint, they're worried that it'll bring attention to their. You know what? It's 2025, and God bless you all, but get the fuck over yourselves. Like, you just got to.
How about this?
The data is the data, and our personalities.
I have a new innovation.
Like, the things that we say in the show, people are saying in conferences now because we
have a new innovation.
We made it okay.
I have a new innovation. You ready for it? ESG data innovation. Remember when alcohol used to be cheap?
Vaguely.
And you'd like buy a can, you put it in a brown bag, and you just like sit in the park or like on the subway and
we're
enjoy a
governance
nice
brown bags?
Yes, we will come up with a system where we will brown bag the delivery of our data to you, so that on your billing statement it'll come up as like ESG Corp, you know, like Nevada or whatever.
That
just
is
something
legitimately in process right now.
And we'll throw in like a carton of Lucky Strikes, so like everyone wins. It's
you know what?
fine.
That's
It's fine.
legitimately a process. There's another
fine. Everything's
organization
fine.
that we're going to work with to get our data out there so that you don't have to buy it from us. But the funny part is, when faced with the question of if you guys toned it down,
Tone what down?
like what we say on the show, if you toned it down and, you know, had less sound effects and like like
nobody
less
would listen.
swearing, and you
Well,
maybe
I don't
like,
swear. That's Matt. That's Matt's issue.
like maybe covered the topics like a little bit more politically neutral or whatever.
Well,
whatever your thing is.
people
when,
themselves are not politically neutral.
when faced with that dichotomy of more sales and less insipid personalities, or insipid personalities and less sales, we said someone else should probably sell this because we cannot. I'm incapable of not being insipid.
what they're asking us to do basically is shut up, go back to MSCI where you can't put out a regular show, in which case there's nothing for them to listen to anyway, so maybe we're all winners.
Here are the facts.
Yeah.
If you want to innovate on anything, like, why do we tolerate the fact that Elon Musk is out there saying he's going to Mars every 60 days and lying about it? And
I've never done a Nazi salute. I've never been to Epstein Island. I've never been arrested. Come on, what are we doing here?
What are we doing here? Because we say the F word every once in a while.
I don't. That's you. That's you. You're
every
a
once in a
horrible
while,
person.
I shit on a company because they're doing shitty things, right? Like, because we do that, we literally.
But that's human nature. That's human nature.
Fact-based. Like analysis with like because we're doing.
How
that,
dare
we're
MSCI
somehow,
give a company a grade? How dare they give them a rating? Isn't that's way too opinionated?
In Texas? You can't do that
hostile.
anymore.
It's hostile.
All
right, can we get to the good game?
Let's go to the good game because otherwise I'm going to lose my mind. All right.
The good news is the good game is relatively quick. We have a few traditional headlines. We have a speed run for Matt. Here's how the good game works. It's a more necessary vehicle for our show than ever because it's difficult to find good things to say. It's difficult to find good headlines. I'm sorry, it's just true. Is that too political? I don't know. I guess if I was JD Vance's best friend, I would say actually it's easy to find good headlines. They're everywhere. The world is great. But a lot of us don't think this way, so sorry if I'm being too political. So the idea of the game is that I find a headline that feels good to me, and then Matt, the adjudicator of truth, comes in and gives it a score from 1 to 10 and whether it's actually good. Is that a good long-winded explanation of this game?
That's the longest-winded way of saying Damien picks headlines and says, are they good? And I just rate them 0 to 10.
That copy was written by AI. So okay, here we go. Let's start with a classic. This is actually a bit of a cheat because this happened last week. All the other headlines are the last 2 days, believe it or not. But this one is, I just wanted you to weigh in on this officially. Glass Lewis, ISS, sue Texas over law restricting use of ESG in proxy voting advice. And before you get to your comment and your score, also, this is just to prove that, we don't just crap on certain companies all the time or certain people. We take all news in an unbiased way, and when we see something we love, we support it. We see something we hate, we don't support. So here, what do you think about that headline, Matt?
This is a 100 out of 100.
Can I do that? I don't think I can enter that score.
I didn't realize there was a logistic problem. I want to read to you from Glass Lewis's lawsuit against Ken Paxton. Quote, the act compels proxy advisors to publicly and conspicuously disparage themselves with government-mandated statements.
That's our job. That's our job at Freeflow.
First of all, I love the idea that they are basically, this is like they're saying in Texas, the land of free capitalism, that this is government mandated overreach, right? Like this is just the government telling us what we can and can't say. They said that when they have to issue these statements whenever, quote, their advice goes against the Texas company's management or board. They provide different advice to different clients, even though the clients may be differently situated. Basically, we have different clients. So we're going to give them the advice that they are asking for. And the proxy advisor's speech reflects the relevance of any of the following factors to companies' financial performance, diversity, equity, inclusion, sustainability, environment, social, or governance factors. And they italicized governance because they're, even in their lawsuit, they're so incredulous that you would basically make a rule that says talking about governance is not allowed. It is bananas that they would do this. This is a 10 out of 10. Thank you, Glass Lewis and ISS, for actually fighting back. I also like this note in the lawsuit. SB 2337 refers to social credit scores, but social credit is not a common term used by proxy advisor services or investors. Basically, okay. What are you talking about? I don't know what that is.
I'm waiting for the punchline. You didn't say anything crass. You didn't say anything horrible. There's no sound effects. What's the punchline?
In fact, I just read from the lawsuit. That's what we do here. It's controversial.
By the way, blame our college educations. I mean, they taught us to be critical. They taught us to be analytical. I mean, come on. Isn't this what you want, people? Do you really want us to just have a very neutral tone about everything where we just say what happened? You can just go on the internet yourself and see what happened. We're just trying to start the conversation. That's all we're trying to do.
Stop
you
trying
don't have
to
to
make
agree
it right,
with
Damien.
us. Okay. good game off to a good start, but I think it might go a little bit downhill from there. These next two headlines are pretty similar, but let's start in Europe with this one. Italian court allows climate lawsuit against energy giant to proceed. So this constitutes a victory these days when courts don't immediately kill these climate action suits. So this one is in Italy, as I said, and the environmental groups Greenpeace Italy and ReCommon, along with 12 Italian citizens, filed suit in 2023 against oil giant Eni for past and potential future damages resulting from its contribution to climate change. So still going, this case, still in a country that's kind of a little bit right-wing, a little to the right of center, Italy. I mean,
it's definitely right. Yeah.
So this is kind of good, right? Feeling this one?
Look, I don't... I'm going to give it a 5 because I don't like can proceed. I mean, are we still in the place where we have to celebrate things that we actually have the right to do the thing that we want to do? Also, any of all the companies is actually one of the better performers on this.
Well, still.
Because they're in Europe. They have a lot of renewable energy. In fact, they are one of the top performers of energy producers on carbon emissions. So it's
but the difference is that a lot. I don't know if it's a majority of the ownership, but it is owned by the state of Italy. So that's why this is sort of a right.
That's why it's not bad, but it's also can proceed, and it's kind of like a good player that we're targeting.
All right, well, whatever. All right, let's move on with a similar case. And you're in a state where you have family. Honolulu's lawsuit against fossil fuel companies leads climate change legal fight. So this they cited this case because it's the lawsuit that is furthest along the litigation path of these types of lawsuits. So in case people don't know, in 2020, so this case is 5 years old already. Honolulu sued major oil companies, including ExxonMobil, Shell, and Chevron, arguing they knew that fossil fuel products create greenhouse gas pollution. So, again, it's still alive. They haven't kicked it out yet, but now both of these are still fighting at the backdrop of the news that we reported on last week, that the International Court of Justice has released an advisory statement, basically saying that states should be allowed to be sued. Right? They should be giving reparations for damages, and companies should be giving reparations for the damages caused by these climate change effects. So
I don't think this is as much a state problem as it is a company problem,
right?
Because the companies have been buying the states effectively. But this one I like. And I'll tell you why.
Do like this one.
I'm going to give this one an 8.
Because you've been to Hawaii? No, but you've been to Italy too.
Yeah, I've been to Italy. I'm Italian.
You're Italian. Yeah, but your wife is Hawaiian, though.
My wife is.
I don't want to look at your nose.
Chinese Hawaiian. So but here's what I like about this one. First of all, it's in the United States, which means
technically
the lawsuits are likely to result in, if Honolulu wins, it's a lot more money they're likely to win, right? Like that.
Okay.
It tends to be the case that in this country, when we do lawsuits, we go big or we go home, right? Like there's no $40 million settlement. Number two, Hawaii, unlike Italy, Hawaii actually is an island that faces severe threats from climate change.
Yeah. Well, I would say that Italy faces severe threats too. But I hear what you're saying. Yeah.
When Tuvalu is like underwater and they want to sue Exxon, no one cares because it's like there's 7 people on that island. This is a United States state island, not even Puerto Rico, which is like a territory and doesn't get any rights for some reason. But I like this one because it's furthest along and there's the most potential for them to win because the effects of climate change on them are significant in a way that it's not in a lot of other places. I mean,
maybe they can hold on. They've held on for 5 years. If they can hold on for another 3 years and maybe we get out of the Trump administration, maybe they'll have a fighting chance with the next.
I think they're targeting 2050 to finish.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, and finally, to wrap up this triumvirate of headlines that were all meant to kiss your ass, they're all meant to please you. because these are all kind of your places. These are the places you feel most
Italy,
comfortable.
Honolulu, Lewis. Yeah.
No, the next headline: Rhode Island.
Yeah.
is the first state to provide menopause accommodations at work. The first.
Yeah.
So, I mean, come on. I know people think this is small, insignificant, but we have to celebrate the victories when we can. I mean, it's been bleak headlines in America for worker, for labor, for everybody, really, for women, especially for people of color. But here's Rhode Island doing something good. What do you think about this one?
It's a 10. Although I will say there is a risk here, and maybe a fun risk that it's definitely woke. But does it discriminate against manspreading?
Absolutely,
or
it does,
menopause?
Yes.
Right?
Yes. It discriminates against men in general,
period,
despite the fact that menopause starts with MEN. So it's a head scratcher for
it's tough. I don't know.
I don't know how men are going to deal with this one. All right, good. Let's move on. Okay. Back to Europe. Europe seems to be the only jurisdiction that is either willing to fight big data or has found like kind of good strategic ways to fight big data. But here's a new headline: citing new rules, Meta says it will end political ads in the EU beginning in October. The company will stop ads related to political, electoral, or social issues, citing a forthcoming EU regulation around the transparency of political advertising. That seemed like an easy win for the EU. Like, just tell us what the hell this is. And even Meta was like, no, I can't believe even Meta is not willing to. They're not willing to be transparent about the. I just don't understand Mark Zuckerberg's head. But how do you feel about this one?
I was shocked that somehow rules work.
Yeah, I know, right? I mean, they're ending, like they're just like ending all ads related to political, electoral, social issues. I mean, that's pretty big.
Isn't that shocking to think that you end the ad, if you make a rule that says you can't do this anymore, the company then complies with that rule and you no longer will have political ads.
Yeah. How do we do this in the U.S.? How do we copy the EU here?
Well, this is going to
could states do this? Could states copy this?
What I'm actually curious about is, so the Czech Republic, their election happens on the 3rd of October, right? Mm-hmm. So does that mean they have political ads on Facebook up to like September 30th, like a blitz of ads?
I suppose.
And then for 3 days, it's dead silent in the Czech Republic.
I suppose, yeah.
I think that's fascinating to me. I'm going to give this a 9. I like the idea that you can set a rule that's a reasonable rule, and then it stops a thing that shouldn't happen from happening.
What's making you so positive today? Is it the fact that we're getting this show over earlier today? Is that I only did 12 headlines?
I'm fully
Your coffee's
onboarded with coffee.
Or is it because what you heard from insiders yesterday that your personality is insipid? Is that why you're in a good mood?
I know I'm a self-proclaimed asshole about a lot of things. So
self-insipid.
I'm actually okay with that.
I heard one person refer to it as odious. Okay. One more traditional headline, and then we'll move to a speed round. We're really zooming through this show today, which I think for everyone who hates Matt Mascari, this is a win.
And by the way.
And by the way, my assumption when you hear that people think that we're a little bit too out there, they're really talking about you. Everyone loves me, of course, right? I mean, I'm the most agreeable person ever. I mean, I never complained about a single thing.
No,
right,
never.
Here's the headline: the country where we could turn this into a little bit of a quiz. Maybe you don't know the country they're talking about. The country where 76% of cars sold are electric. This is from the New York Times.
That's the headline. That's the headline?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's awkwardly written headline.
I know, it's a dumb headline.
I'm going to give that headline a 0.
You know what's weird, too, is that this isn't actually the country with the highest percentage of cars sold that are electric. Do you know what that country is? Which country in the world has the highest percentage of cars sold that are electric?
It's got to be European, probably Scandinavian, right?
Yeah, and it's actually quite ironic considering the massive amount of oil this country controls. It's Norway.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
which sits on huge oil fields
and sells them. Yeah.
Yeah, and yet 92% of all new car sales are electric. The country this headline is referring to is Nepal.
What?
Yeah, Nepal. 76% of new cars sold are electric. Do you know what that stat is in the U.S.? What do you think in the U.S.?
10?
Yes.
Is it really?
It's exactly 10. I will say, so that no one thinks that my personality is horrible, I did round up from 9.9 to 10. So I don't want anyone to think that I'm bending facts or being overly political here. But you're right. It's absolutely 10% of all new car sales here are electric. I thought that was actually high. I didn't think it was that high.
Look,
probably all in Rhode Island, probably.
It is Rhode Island and Honolulu. The thing that matters, though, is that China... The EV sales
is crushing it, isn't
47% of
I thought it was above
new
50
car
now.
sales are in 2024 were EVs. And China's, you're talking about a population of 1.4 billion.
Yes. China made me sad because I'm in the market for my first electric vehicle, and I accidentally, stupidly went over to the BYD. Is that what it is? BYD?
Yeah, the website.
The website for Chinese electric vehicles. They have like 10 beautiful cars, and I can't
like
buy any of them.
Yeah, they're so good.
I can't buy any of them. I'm just mad about this.
I'm actually mad that Charlie Munger was right. He was like a big early investor in BYD. Love what they were doing. Not a Tesla investor, a BYD investor.
Yeah.
And he was
they're
right.
successful. Maybe because they're successful. So what do you think about this headline that some good things are happening in some countries somewhere?
I guess. I mean...
Hey, look, I mean, it's good for the people of Nepal. Nepal must smell a lot better, don't you think?
Except we literally just outlawed the EVs here. Like we just made it impossible to get EVs. They're now more expensive.
We don't care about our air quality here.
How is it that Nepal and China are pacing us on new innovation? Like electric vehicles, you want to know what's interesting about an electric vehicle? They're new.
No.
We've had them since 1970, and we refuse to sell them in this country, but we let everyone else sell the cool new thing, but not us. That's the first time in history the U.S. is like, screw new things. I don't know if I care about this. This is a 4. It makes me sad. Not happy.
Killing the overall rating. All right, let's get to our speed round where look, if you want to pontificate, feel free, but you can also just give me a quick answer and a score. So I've kind of change these a little bit. Some of these might not appear to be good headlines, but I'm kind of asking you if they're good because of a certain reason. I'll start off with this as an example. Is this good because a headline not affiliated with Free Flow is saying it out loud? And here's the headline. Starbucks CEO Brian Niccol made 6,666 times more than the median employee at his coffee chain last year. So this is a headline I'm seeing a lot. People are starting to jump on the CEO pay ratio bandwagon because of us. It has to be because of us. So you think this is good because people are calling this out? I mean, I've been hammering him because of this horrible number. It's just outrageous. I mean,
what I love about this, actually, and I do love it, not how much he made because it's absurd. I love that.
Sickening.
I love that we're using the CEO pay ratio, number one. And number two, and they're forced to disclose that. I'm just waiting for them to stop being forced to disclose that. And number two, that we saw a headline earlier, like last week, where they actually did this in years, right? Because 6,666 times is the number of years it would take an employee at Starbucks, the median employee at Starbucks, to make as much as Brian Niccol makes this year.
Yeah, right? It's a difficult. That's the problem. My only problem with this is that it is difficult to kind of conceptualize what this number means.
It's less difficult when you realize 6,666 years ago was early Mesopotamia.
Yeah.
So effectively,
I'm aware.
An agricultural worker in Mesopotamia, which is it was tribal at that point. Gus in Mesopotamia would have to survive 6,000 years at the Starbucks median salary.
That's a lot of existential dread.
To make as much as Brian Niccol.
Yeah. Who still hasn't, and to be fair, I think Starbucks announced its 6th straight down quarter this quarter, so he still hasn't turned it around. Maybe he will, but he still hasn't.
I mean...
Anyway, what's your score for
I'm
this?
I'm giving this a 6.
Okay, but then let me ask you this: can I add to that score if I give you I'm going to give you a sub-score bonus question?
Oh, I like
Is this
this.
also good because they actually named the CEO in the headline?
Oh,
they actually
yes,
called
7.
him Brian Nichol.
7.
Okay, 7.
Yeah,
All
correct. That's correct.
Okay. Next headline. Is this good because a CEO is connecting consumer prices to Trump's tariffs? Also, I mean, a CEO just even having the backbone to kind of call out Trump's tariffs also seems good. But the headline is Procter and Gamble CEO. Notice they don't name the CEO this time. Procter and Gamble CEO says Trump tariffs are causing the company to hike prices on shoppers. I honestly, Matt, I think this is one of the first CEOs who's had the guts to kind of say it, right? I mean, everyone seems to be afraid of Trump. So do you think this is good that they're like CEOs actually calling the tariffs out, or you look skeptical on this one?
Do I think it's good that a CEO says a fact?
Well, look, they're not doing it. We're in the age of like fear. I mean, you know what I mean? Like even we're not allowed to have like opinions. People get up. We're interpreting ESG data in a way that makes us feel good, and even people are like, "Oh, you guys shouldn't do that. You should just This is what your show should sound like: 3.3%, a rise of 10% since 2021." Yeah, what do you think about this? Thank you.
Look, here's what I think about it. I think that companies all should say the true thing about this. Like tariffs.
Remember, Amazon they wanted to put on the website like why the price increased, the amount increased, and then Trump. Oh, that was a false.
It ended up being false.
All right, I fell for it.
But
supposedly Trump yelled at them, and they stopped. But yeah, go ahead.
Companies are trying to find any way to talk about price increases without saying the word tariff, because then like they're getting the ire. And Trump did go after Walmart and said you should eat the cost, right, of the tariffs. Yeah. Like he came out and said that.
Go ahead, eat it up.
But like I don't want to side with the companies here either. The companies are like greedflation is a real thing. When prices go up, prices don't go back down when inflation slows, right? Like we had a high inflation after COVID and it got under control, and it's not like prices came back down. And I know he's saying like prices have to go up because of tariffs.
His name is John Mueller.
But I don't know. This is a 5. I like that someone's saying it, but they all should be saying it. And we also need to admit that like these companies take advantage of this stuff. They don't like when the tariffs go away. Do you think the prices are going to come down? Like by the amount of the tariff?
Absolutely not. Absolutely
never, ever.
Never.
So it's like, great, you're saying it now, and you're going to still make all the money.
Can we add to the score if I told you that CEO and chair of Procter & Gamble, John Mueller, also sits on the board of the Cincinnati Art Museum? Does that increase the score?
No, now it's a 4.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. Moving on. Is this good because a CEO is actually saying something about AI that is not corporate gobbledygook? So Blue Sky's CEO, what's her name? Her name is Jay Graber, I believe her name is. Blue Sky's CEO warns you shouldn't fully outsource your thinking to AI. This is something I've been afraid of and kind of been reporting on based on a lot of the headlines we're covering about Sam Altman and all the rest of the bro culture. But do you like the fact that she's calling this out, saying like, hey, be careful here, people. Like, don't give your brains to OpenAI.
What I like is Blue Sky is the only social media company that is not stealing Blue Sky users' data to train its own AI. That's what I like.
Okay, that's something to like.
I mean, anybody who was ready to fully outsource their thinking to AI is already a moron. I've heard it a couple times on a couple of different podcasts that like somebody referred to AI as basically a blurry JPEG of the entire internet, which is the internet is full of horrible stuff. It's just horrible. Like humanity's full of horrible stuff. But so outsourcing your thinking to AI is not a great idea. I'm going to give it an 8 just because I like Blue Sky and their CEO.
Jay Graber did something really weird too that I think Sam Altman and Mark Zuckerberg are probably a bit uncomfortable with. She actually graduated from the University of Pennsylvania with a BA in Science, Technology, and Society. She actually graduated.
Society's in that.
She graduated.
It's all of that makes them uncomfortable. There's a little society thrown in. There's a diploma in there.
What was your score again?
8, and it's just for Jay Graber.
Okay, 3 more headlines for the good game, July 29th, 2025. I've been a fan of every time someone from the Trump administration agrees with me or I agree with them, I try to include it because I'm trying to create a bipartisan alliance. Yeah. How about this one? Is this good because J.D. Vance agrees with me? Remember, we spent a lot of the Friday show kind of being a little bit upset, or maybe a lot of bit upset with Satya Nadella and his horrific enigma of success comment about how great Microsoft is doing, and yet we're going to fire 15,000 employees who helped us get to become this great company. So I was really pissed off about this. J.D. Vance calls out big tech for firing Americans while hiring cheap foreign H-1B visa replacements. Now, so what I'm afraid here is that you're probably going to understandably find some loophole to this headline where he's actually just making Americans hate immigrants, which he might be doing. But he is agreeing with me that, like, why the hell is big tech firing America? I don't know if they're all Americans they fired, but probably a lot of Americans. But anyway,
the problem,
how do you think about this? Yeah, go ahead.
I'll start with the problem is that J.D. Vance said it. And
therefore, it is a big problem.
Therefore, it's likely full of no nuance. Like there's some false information thrown in there, or at least at a minimum, sort of twisted, right? But I do know.
But we can agree that $1 trillion market cap company doesn't really need to be firing Americans unless they're really low performing dolts who drink toilet water.
Forget firing Americans. It doesn't need to really fire anybody, unless they're underperforming, right?
I'm just saying. It is an American company. It's based in Washington State, right?
All these are international companies. None of them are American anymore.
Okay, keep talking. Give me a score. What do you think?
That to me, it's really hard to parse. I know that I read the nuance because I saw these reports, and the H-1B visas usually go to software engineers, and Microsoft fired all the middle management. They're effectively gutting middle management so that they can reduce cost and reduce cost. Basically,
and ruthless target.
We can give middle management's salaries to upper management and then hire cheaper software engineers. Like we know the story. This is not
because they giggle to themselves knowing that none of the workers in tech, especially the middle management, they've never taken the effort to try to unionize to prevent these kind of things. So they know they have no power to fight back against this. None.
Which is a fabulous point, because there was a hot second in the early 2020s where big tech unionization was on the docket. Like there was talks about Google. There were talks about.
I mean, the backup catcher for the Philadelphia Phillies is part of a union. I mean, it's not so crazy to unionize. You know what I'm saying? It's not just like dock workers in New Jersey. And a billionaire
owns the Phillies, right? We're talking about
actually a lot of the Microsoft executives actually do own sports teams, right?
So they know what it's like to deal with the union. It's not such a big deal. For this headline, this one's really hard because it's right and wrong.
Because you're picturing J.D. Vance while you're thinking.
He's
of the score.
so punchable.
Isn't he?
Like,
is that a politically charged statement?
No, that's objective. That's I'm pretty sure there are studies about punchable faces, aren't there? Like the lead singer of Creed. Remember the band Creed? He had a very punchable face, right?
That sounds like a politically charged statement because the ESG data does not suggest that the lead singer of Creed is punchable.
Well, you know what's funny about the data? That we have on freeflowanalytics.com, the free website where you can go look up directors and boards and all that stuff. there are actually a lot of pictures of the directors from the websites, or the proxies that they put there, and we put them there so you could see what they look like.
Including CEO John Mueller of Procter & Gamble that we just talked about.
Our back-end guru actually did his thesis, Bogdan, did his thesis using neural networks to do facial, comparisons to say a measurement of how people look similar.
Right, yeah.
So we actually can measure, like, whether people look similar, whether... I think by extension, whether they're punchable. Yeah. I think by extension...
That even... When like by and large most, if not all, I mean I know it's not all. I'm being I'm hyperbolizing, hyperbolizing.
Yeah, I believe that the first one was the word. Yeah.
If they're all white men anyway, I mean, is it really a stretch to say they all look alike? But I appreciate the research.
I mean, look, on a global level, when you're talking about like diversity and groupthink, right?
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
It's a fascinating exercise to not just say they all went to the same school, they're all CEOs, they all have a knowledge. They
all went to the Oberlin School of Pronunciation, like I did.
Yeah,
really
hyperbobble. And they all look alike, right? Like, because even people who are of different ethnic backgrounds can look similar.
Give me a score.
This makes me uncomfortable to give more than a 6. I think
6 is pretty good.
There's a J.D. Vance cap. Well, he's saying something that's partially true at a minimum, and I really don't like. You know what? Know what this is? This is the enigma of J.D. Vance. So
I love it. What's that? The enigma of cruelty, enigma of failure,
enigma of ignorance,
of stench. Okay. 2 more headlines. Is this good because Hooters is gross? That's the question.
All right, off to a good start.
See, and I wasn't even political. I was going to say something about how misogynist it is, but I was like, you know what? I'm just going to call it gross. I'm not even going to be political, right? See how fair I am?
Watch how not political I am.
Hulk Hogan's death. Hulk Hogan, he's like one of the Vince McMahon. You were talking about the Vince McMahon family last week. He's one of the buddies.
WWEification.
Hulk Hogan's death could be bad news for Hooters. Oh, is that good news? It feels like good news to me.
The good news.
Hulk.
The good news is Hooters filed for bankruptcy already in June, right? And that's why Hulk Hogan's company, Real American Beer, was the name of the company.
Yeah, which we joked about too, because I mean, you could walk down the street in my hometown here.
There's so much American
Maine. It's
beer.
not just Portland, Maine. It's everywhere. Michigan, Oklahoma, everywhere. There's American beer everywhere. Everyone's brewing American beer. It's like, what are we talking about? What's real?
There's a guy brewing it right now.
If you're from Maine, you're not a real American? I don't even know what that means.
But that's Real American Beer was the name of this company.
Whatever that means,
and management at the time said that the company wasn't, quote, going anywhere. So they filed for bankruptcy. They wasn't making any money.
It would go anywhere.
So I think, like, the weird thing about the way you're wording this question is, am I rating that Hulk Hogan died? Like, it feels like you're basically saying.
I don't know that many people are even sad about that. I hate to be morbid, but that whole culture is sickening in general. I mean, the whole.
It is a
and
reminder.
We know that, and also we know that, and not to get political, but didn't someone pointed out to me? I forgot this. Did Hulk Hogan actually speak at the Republican convention?
Yeah.
They asked Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, he was one of the featured speakers. Yeah.
Wow, and this is the party that won the presidency of the United States of America, and people are upset about our personalities because we just because we just feel passionately about certain issues. They're upset about us, even though the data that they could buy is completely neutral, and yet the president of our country is inviting the likes of
WWEification of the country
and hiring Linda McMahon, the wife of Vince, to run the Department of Education, and they're worried about us. I'm just confused. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm giving this a 0. There's nothing good in this headline. There's Hulk Hogan involved, there's death involved, and there's Hooters involved. It's a 0.
But you don't like bad news for Hooters? All right, fine. And finally, on the good game for July 29th, 2025, the question is this good for free float media? Now, the media portion of our company, not the data, not the analytics, just the media.
It should just say free float's insipid personality part of the company. Yeah. That's subsidiary.
and this is something I'm completely aligned with because I don't actually think I'm anti-capitalist. I just think I'm like pro-stakeholder capitalist, which is what I really am.
Nice spin.
Here's the headline: Young people aren't anti-capitalists. Because they're talking about Mamdani's winning the primary election in New York City. Young people are not anti-capitalist. They're just sick of corporate hypocrisy. Is that good for us?
Oh, so I'm rating, is it good for us?
Right? Is that good for free float media, right? Corporate, because really that's what we're just pointing. We're just trying to hold people accountable in the corporate world.
No,
We're not as opinionated as you think we are. We're just asking people to pay attention to who is making the decisions at the corporations that you're investing in. That's all we're doing. That's all we're doing.
But I don't think even you could use the data to find corporate hypocrisy. You could also use it and say I want corporations to screw their employees as much as possible. And
you know what? I absolutely agree with you. But I say this all the time. You could use the data to look for, if there are boards that have, they're highly networked, your brother's on the board. If you like that, if you think that provides fewer long-term risks as an investor, then by all means,
use it.
Invest in Tesla. I don't care. The data is neutral. But anyway, go ahead. What do you think about this one?
Based on the 7 listeners of this show, I'm going to say that it's a 5. I'm not sure it benefits free float media at all. I'm not sure it's a thing.
Well, once again, you have magically, I don't know how you do this. I think you're looking at the scores as you do this because you always land the same place. You are the beginning of the game, you are way up there. And then, of course, you always end up down at a 6. You always finish at a 6.
Nailed it.
I don't get it.
Nailed it.
In fact, the last good game, you were 6.3. This good game, you're 6.3. The week before that, you were 6.1. You're just always there. You're always there.
Hey, look, I hate it. I'm an Italian. I'm always slightly better than average. That's all I ever. That's all I ever hope.
That's a fair statement.
That's Hazelnut Rellis. I'm your analyst, Matt Moscardi. We are Free Float. We'll be back on Friday with a wrap of the week. There is no shareholder privacy pod this week.
It's too much.
There's
it's too hot.
No proxy countdown.
There are no meetings.
There's no meetings.
It's too warm.
A quiet
Warm.
period. I know in Europe there's meetings and stuff, but it's quiet, and we got one person.
Give us a break. It's hot out.
If you want us to do a proxy countdown, hit us. Ask us to, and we'll do it.
That's true. Or if you just want to know even about one AGM or one company, reach out. We'll tell you what we think.
But guess what? When you don't say anything, we don't do anything. So reach out and we'll answer. Otherwise, stay tuned. We'll be back later this week. Until then, goodbye.